Okay, let me see.
And tell me what it says.
I had already gone into KPLC.
Okay.
So I don't know, I search again.
What's the price?
KPLC, it's telling me, let me click that again. KPLC, it's 1 shilling and 81.
There you go. So
All
you
right.
have 300 shillings. You
Yes.
can buy 100 shares.
All right.
In fact, 300.
No,
But let's
this
just
is
start with
exciting.
100.
All right. So
And
I
by the way,
feel-
we are not giving advice right now. We're just showing you how the chatbot works. We're not saying go ahead and buy Kenya Power.
Yes.
It's important to take time to make investment decisions based on your circumstances and based on how companies are performing. However, for illustration purposes, and because this gentleman has 300 bob,
Yes.
let's find him something he can buy.
I'm waiting for my Makiba. Anyway, so here I can, it tells me different quantities I can key in. What I like about it is I can either put in 100, 200, 300 or any other.
What does it say?
I can key in, please select the number of shares in brackets quantity from suggested or select I wish to key in.
Okay.
So I can just choose 100.
Go ahead. Yeah.
All right, good. All right. Then it asks me, would you like to place this as a market order or a limit order?
Okay.
What is the difference?
So it says a market order or a limit order.
Yes.
A market order is basically saying buy the shares at the best price possible that is trading today. So today you will have a range of prices and I'm happy to buy at whatever price today. If it says limit order, you're basically giving it a limit beyond which you do not want to buy.
Okay.
So you can say I want to buy at 99 cents.
All right.
And so if it's not 99 cents, it will not trade. It will only trade at 99 cents, but not above that. So if you put market, it will trade today at whatever price.
I don't mind taking the chance, so I'll click market.
Okay.
And it tells me you are placing an order to buy 100 KPLC at market price with a consideration of 204. I'm within my limits. All right. So I think I'll go ahead and place the order.
Super.
And I'm waiting. Yes, so I can see it has also shown me the brokerage charges. So it's only 6 shillings.
It's only 6 shillings for
Oh,
100
right.
shares. We can all buy shares.
Ah, all right. No, this is really good. So I can also see it has other things. I can check my statement.
You can check your statement. You can check your
Oh.
order status to see has the order gone through
Yes.
or not.
Wow, all right. I can see the different order. I have 5 transactions, including one that I think I may have bought on 25th.
Okay.
And then if I need support, what do I do?
So if you need support, what kind of support would you like?
I'd like to see if I can be emailed my statement.
So on that icon, there's a button that says next. So click on it.
All right, I'm there.
And then there's an option that says
There we
customer
go.
support. Can you see it?
Yes, I've seen it.
Go ahead and
So
click it.
I'll go ahead. Yeah,
So
so,
you-
I'd like to be emailed my statement.
Go ahead and type that.
Yeah, email.
My statement.
Statement. Oh, it's telling me the system's misbehaving.
What's that?
All right, I'm still waiting for it to send me.
Although what you could do is
Yeah.
if you go back and you just want your statement, you can actually get it from the chatbot without it having been sent via email.
No problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd actually done a mini statement, so this is really great, and I'm really super excited. I think what I like about it is that you're able to trade like you're conversing on WhatsApp. So it is so simple, you can just talk to it, and I like it. I like the convenience.
Exactly. And even for those who don't really want to use it for trading, you just want to know what you have in your portfolio, you want to know what the price of a certain stock is at this moment in time. Yeah. Literally, just type in the name of the company. If it's Equity Bank or KCB or Safaricom, whatever counter, just type the name and you will get the current price with a touch of a button.
Way to go.
Yeah.
Investing goes digital.
Investing goes digital.
I love it.
Yeah, so
All right. Thank you very much. Maina.
Yes.
Hey, this is an exciting day for us, and we are so happy. I bought 200.
Just got some money. Thanks a lot, Wagema and Rina, for that take round about how to just go through the chatbot. In case you missed it, we will still probably towards the end of it all try and give you a brief again. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them. Right about now, as I told you, Investing Tuesdays. We're going to launch it with an amazing panel that is already seated and ready to start answering your questions and whatever you have. We have a very amazing host as well, my co-host, seated right there waiting for you as well to ask questions and whatever that you may have. So right about now, I want to give my co-host to tell us what is in the kitchen as I head there as well.
Great. Right here, Maina.
Yes.
So as we move into the second part of this session, we're going to have a panel discussion themed Starting Your Investment Journey. So I know I'd like to start with an introduction of the panelists today, but in my view, these are seasoned advisors. These are decision makers in their own right, and they really need no introduction in this investment world. So also at this point, I'd like to encourage our audience to write down notes, engage us. I assure you, it's not every day that we get these champions in this industry to speak to us about their wisdom and their way of thinking. So as protocol dictates, I will start with a quick introduction. To my extreme right is Mr. Geoffrey Odundo, Chief Executive of the Nairobi Securities Exchange. The lovely lady sitting in the middle is Rena Hicks. She is the Operations Director at FIDA Investment Bank and a gold sponsor. And finally, we have Mr. Paul Mwai. Mr. Paul Mwai is the CEO of AIB Axis Africa and a silver sponsor. Welcome.
Thank you.
Great. So, Maina,
Yes.
I don't know how you started your investment journey, but
Yes.
if there's anything this year has taught me,
Yeah.
it's better late than never.
You're right.
And for the audiences we have tuned in today,
Yeah.
I'd really like for our panelists to share how they started investing.
Yeah.
And I would like to start off with Jeff.
Yeah.
Yes, Jeff, the floor is yours.
Oh. Thank you, Bansri, and really congratulations on the launch of this particular platform and this webinar today, Investing Tuesdays. Well, for me, I think I started late because I started my investment journey in 1996 in the stock market. That was about 5 years after I had started working. No, 4 years down the road. Most of my money then was highly consumption. I never really understood the dynamics of early investing and the benefits. And that's why I say I'm very delighted that we are starting this education early to just help early employees, people who start their careers now, to also begin an investment journey. And my first stock that I bought was Kenya Airways back in 96 at 11 shillings and 50 cents. And I took a very big loan. I think it was about 100,000 shillings. But of course, it was an oversubscribed issue, so we all got some minimum allocation. I think it was about 8,000 shillings. And so, yeah, so I felt like a kick. Every time I see a plane flying out of the sky, I say, that's my plane, and it's going to land and going to get me money. And it was such an exciting time. But one thing I didn't know is that I thought when you buy shares, they continue rising, and really the story has been sold, so probably you're buying at the bottom. But just to have it, I mean, in a month or two, it started going down. And I became what you call a panic seller. And I exited at 8 shillings. So I made a loss. I was very crushed with that. And I felt, this was not really my lifestyle. So I should have changed a different direction. But as I grew older, I then started really understanding the market a bit more better. And around the age of about 25 to 30, now we started getting, when I was heading to 30, that's when I got more interested in the market. And I can tell you, without disclosing too much, that the market has made me money in the past. And I really appreciate, just look at KQ, for example. From 11 shillings, it's lagged for a while, but it went all the way to 100 plus. And so investors who took that decision made some money. So what am I saying? I think for anybody who starts a career today, the famous saying that let's diversify your portfolio, don't put all your eggs in one basket, all this makes sense. Start investing slowly. It's always easy to start with stocks. One, they're more affordable at lower level, they're easier to access, they're easier to liquidate. And what happens when you start investing in stocks? You start understanding financial matters. You start understanding how to read a balance sheet, how to read a profit and loss account, how to understand cash flows. So anybody, even if you're in a very different field, be it nursing, be it a teacher, be it a businessman, those basic knowledge about a company's financials become relevant. And by you start building that understanding. So that's what we're encouraging. I think it's good, especially for the youth, and I saw ISIS talk about women, that it's time to really start investing. It's Warren Buffett who said that he started investing at the age of 11. But his biggest regret is that he started late. Yes. So, so who are we today now who 30 years down the road, we're still wondering what the stock market is. Yes. It is a very simple market. Yes. I think I was asked to speak to the youth and maybe relate to them in the language they understand. Vile nasema. Hii soko ni yetu.
Go ahead.
Kuingia soko si ngumu, ni rahisi. Vile tunavyonunua vitu, bidhaa na vitu kama hizo. Kuingia kwa soko ni kitu rahisi sana. Fungua account ya CDS, unatuma tu kipande ID namba yako na uweze kufungua hiyo account kwa broker wowote na unaendelea kufanya transactions zako. Lakini vijana tuache kusema sisi tutakuwa vijana milele, tungoje sisi wakati wetu unakuja kesho. Wakati ni sasa, na si kama sasa ni sasa hivi. Kwa hivyo tuanze kwa hii jani ya kununua soko za hisa ni kitu rahisi sana, na tuendelee tujitegemee na tujitengezee mali, sio? Very good, thank you.
Wow. I think you deserve a round of applause on that. Sorry.
Yes.
What you, Bansri? I think we want to also understand, Rina, when did you start your investment journey and how was it?
So I thought I started early. I really did. I thought I started early, but according to Jeff's statements, I started late. I was in my early 20s. In my first job, I worked in a company that's in the technology space, and we were going to make a pitch. I was going with my boss at the time. So we go into this reception, and this gentleman walks in. He wasn't the man we were going to see, but this gentleman walks in. My boss stands up, and they give each other high fives. Hey, how you doing, man? How's it going? And they start conversing about this article in the paper on that day. Mama, wow, did you see this paper? The article about ABL and SAB Miller. Oh my gosh, something about share swaps, and it was all Greek for me. And I was like, okay, this must be something that I need to listen to. So I took out my notebook and I wrote down SAB Miller, ABL, stocks. You should buy. Bana, I'm calling my broker just now. I'm going to buy. I overheard this conversation. None of them worked for ABL at the time, both in advertising and e-commerce. And I remember immediately we got back to the office. I got myself a newspaper, I read it, and I was like, oh my gosh, it is for real. There's this share swap, I have no idea what it is, but I know that between Tanzania and Kenya, there's exchange of shares, and ABL is going to do well, so I better buy shares. Lunchtime, I took a mat to town, and went to a brokerage, opened my account, and started my investment journey that day. In a few months, I had doubled my money. But what's interesting is the brokerage I'm talking about was owned and run by my father. And so I was like, excuse me, why didn't you tell me to buy ABL shares? So it's interesting that you can have all this information before your eyes every single day of your life.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's human nature. We just delay, we procrastinate, we have other things that consume our lives and don't take advantage of stuff that's really right before us. So that's really been my journey. I started then. I know I've made many mistakes. I've made investments in people's businesses, lost money. But all through that journey, learned a lot and gained significant experience.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Yes.
I don't know whether Bans, you want me to introduce I call him the big man because when you hear the brokerage firms, he's a big stakeholder there.
He's a big stakeholder. Yes.
So do you want to tell us your investment journey?
Thank you, Maina. And I'm not sure mine is as exciting as Jeff's and Rina's, but very much like Jeff, I think I did start quite late. I started working for Barclays in 1991. Fortunately for me, when I studied in university, and even my first job on Barclays, was an investment job. I worked then for Barclays Trust Investment Services. So I was investing other people's money before I was investing mine. So, I think towards 1998 is when there was an IPO for a company called Africa Lakes, which was part of Africa Online, which was cross-listed between Kenya and London. And it was being IPO'd in Kenya, and it was also trading in London at the same time. And there was a significant price differential between the IPO price and the trading price in London, which presented almost a very easy arbitrage gap. So I saw the opportunity, and I perhaps did my first investment sometime in 1998. That was actually 6 years from when I started working. So again, I was also late. I've been a constant investor in the stock market. Now being part of a brokerage firm, so I have the opportunity to look and invest every day of my life. And I would like just to encourage people that despite what you see and the bad news that you hear sometimes in the press, there are really good stories in the stock market of people who have really made good money. People who have stayed focused, have followed the fundamentals, and have looked long-term on investment. There are really good opportunities to make money in the stock market.
Excellent.
Wow. I
Excellent.
think that's an amazing one. Jeff, I would like to now pick up from where you stopped at. I know you tried to explain to us, Sisi wa Nainchi, in a language that we can understand.
Yeah.
But I just want you to demystify this. Anytime we see markets, especially on TV, you know, those guys, first of all, they're serious, you know, and then you see big numbers happening, just flowing, like we're seeing right here at the back, you know, very nice numbers here. And so it looks like it's an elitist thing, ni kitu ya watu fulani, you know, that's the language that you call it. What would you tell those people who think this is not their place?
Okay. Thank you, Maina. So, I think the kind of, for a long time, we have never really demystified the exchange to a level that the normal Mwananchi can understand. But I'm not totally sure the normal Mwananchi doesn't understand. If you go to the AGMs, annual general meetings today, majority of shareholders who come for those meetings are people from the rural areas. And they come and they carry their accounts, they even ask questions. So let me first of all just put it to Kenyans that the market is not a market for knowledgeable people. It's a market for those people who, just out of interest, you must have an interest. Kenyans are very, first of all, let me say, technologically knowledgeable.
Yeah.
If you are able to send and use money and M-Pesa and all these kind of things, you basically have a basic knowledge of how a technology platform works.
Okay.
Now, that is a lot more complex than stock market. Stock market is like going to a market. Ni kama kuenda soko.
Yeah.
Eh?
Yeah.
So hii soko kunauzwa nyanya, kunauzwa kitunguu, kunauzwa I'm not so good with vegetables. Lakini zozote. Now,
Pilipili hoho. It's
pilipili
okay.
hoho.
Yeah, go ahead.
Wale watu wanauza hao ni brokers. Hao ndio wameleta kutoka mashamba. Wameuziwa na wholesaler wenye hizo bidhaa kutoka mashambani, wanauzia watu kwa soko, wale watu wanafanya kwa soko, and then you are the customer. So they do what you call trading, wana transfer.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
So that's how it works. And then the market is the NSE. Hiyo soko kama wakulima market ndio NSE yenyewe. Unaelewa?
Yeah.
So it's a very not a very complex thing.
Yeah.
And how you buy a share, you just go to your broker, you tell them, I want to buy Safaricom or whatever with the stock, and then you just fill a form and fill an order, and they go and they buy for you. So it's a very easy market. You give them cash, they give you shares. Shares are put in your deposit account electronically.
Okay.
Now we have made it very simple. Just the way you transfer money on your M-Pesa platform or Airtel platform, you're able now to buy shares on your platform in what we're calling today the chatbot.
Okay.
Simple. I think in the future we're going to even try and make it in Swahili to make it very simple. Lakini, there is nobody who can say that they don't know how to use a mobile device, because we are Kenyans, we have the best penetration of mobile device in the world.
Sure.
We can afford to really explain. So it's not a market for the chosen few.
Yeah.
It's a market for everybody.
Yeah.
Today, about 12% of our turnover is retail, and I think that can grow. And mine is just to encourage Kenyans, just let's get an interest. You start from there. And an investment journey, you don't need to accumulate millions or hundreds or thousands of cash. For as low as 200, 300 shillings today, you can buy 100 shares of a company. Start there. Day by day, it is the discipline that counts. It's not the accumulating and then acquiring. It's the discipline that counts, especially the youth. I was in China last year. There's an exchange there with over 300 million investors.
My goodness.
And they're all young people. But every day, every Chinese believes he's a Warren Buffett. So they trade for themselves. I think Kenyans, we can also become the leading market in Africa for the youth and women. So let's start that journey. It's not difficult, it's simple, and we'll continue making it easier.
Yes.
Thank you.
Great, great. Mina, Jeff just said something that immediately I picked on.
Yeah.
Most of the investors that come to our AGMs are from the rural areas.
Yeah.
And that speaks to what my grandfather normally tells me.
Uh-huh.
There is a vision, there is a long-term vision that that group, that particular generation had.
Yeah.
They invest in patient capital.
Mm.
And I think that is what our generation, assuming we are both in the same generation,
Very
I want to get into that. I think that is the shift we need to start having.
Yes.
Jeff also talked about getting a loan
Mhm.
to invest.
Yeah.
I know my baby brother
Yeah.
wanted a loan from me to buy his next iPhone 10. I think we need to have a conversation after this
Absolutely.
panel discussion
Absolutely.
here.
And
Yes.
I absolutely agree with you, and that's why we now have the Investing Tuesdays, where whatever questions you may have, you can ask. Swali lolo telile, you know, I think we'll be trying to demystify and break it down in an easy way, how you
Yes.
can start. And I think I love the fact that, you know, he started small,
Yes.
and now you see where he is. He didn't tell us
Yes.
big time, but you see where he is, you know? Yeah. So, but do you
Great.
want to bring in the lady in the house as well?
Yes, yes, absolutely,
Yeah.
Rina. So Rina, I don't know if it's a lady thing, but me being a lady, I'm generally a bit risk averse when it comes to investments. I need to have all the information, I need to crunch the numbers, and I need to know that there's some sort of security that I'm going to get a return on this investment. And what we've seen in the general past, let me compare myself to Mina. Mina is going to put aside some money at the end of the month. He's going to look at the stock market. He's going to say, okay, this counter is doing well, this counter has potential, and quickly put in his money. So clearly there is a little bit of gender disparity when it comes to investing. So over the past couple of weeks, we've seen the curve shift slightly positively towards the ladies. And we have about 34% of the investor group at the exchange comprising ladies. So Rina, in your view, what has caused this change in demographics, and why would you encourage ladies to look at the exchange as their go-to investment option?
Okay.
Over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Bansri. So I think the first part you mentioned, the fact that is it a ladies thing that, you know, we tend to be more risk averse. It is. I mean, when you look at even just job applications, I remember speaking to a director of one of the top banks in Kenya, and he said that, let me tell you, when men look at a job application, if they have 30% of the qualification list they apply,
Yes.
a woman needs to have like 90% for her to think about putting a job application. And that translates to a lot of different areas of our lives. And so even with investing, ladies sort of feel like, I think I need an expert. You know, I don't know enough to be able to invest. I want to be able to know enough to cover all my risks before I can put in money. And even when you look at investment managers who are women, they seem to be unsure of themselves even as they're making decisions. But what's interesting, research has actually shown, I looked at some research that was done in 2007 and 2008 during the economic crisis. And it was done by a German bank. And they looked at 500,000 portfolios managed globally. Out of all, about 500,000 of those portfolios that were managed, the ones that were managed by women did 4 to 6% better in returns than those that were managed by men. And it was very evident in that research that while women are more unsure of themselves, they actually make better investment decisions. So I think what I'm trying to say here is to encourage women, first of all. Yes, you might be more unsure. And imagine there's actually something positive about that because you do a little more research, you tend to take your time, you don't rush into things as fast, and your investment decisions end up being better. Why has there been growth to 34%? So first of all, it's positive growth, which is fantastic. But I think generally over the years, there's been a lot more information available to people. And a lot more women are working and being able to make money that they can now put aside. So they have more options where they can put their money and invest. And it's not just the stock market, it's generally. I think so my advice would be that just know that you have an inherent ability to make good investment decisions. Investments in others, investments in opportunities to grow your wealth, I think is what I would say. In addition to that is to don't limit yourself, don't be afraid, just find out as much information you need. But you don't have to know everything, and you'll never know everything. It's okay to take a little bit of risk and put your money. And right now, today, at the palm of your hand, you have so much information available to you. You know, we have apps, all of us as brokers in Kenya, including the NSE, with information on what is trading, how did it do in the last 5 years, what should I be investing in. Look at what analysts are talking about. There's available information for free on what you can invest in. And take advantage of that information. In fact, even pick up the call. You'll be able to talk to analysts and find out information. If you're a little more risk averse, and you'll be able to have as much information as you need to go ahead and to invest. So the fact that you're a woman is an advantage. So take advantage of that ability, that sixth sense that you have, and the desire to know more to invest, but don't stop investing because you feel you don't have enough information.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I like that.
Well,
I like that.
I don't know whether I have a question for the men, but I think I think the men are already represented a little bit more, and in terms of that research that you gave in terms of being risk averse and people who take risks as well. Rina, I know before Bansi brings in Paul, I just want to ask you this question based on the fact that I am an avid follower of you. You have written a book about being money wise and all that.
Yeah.
You know, I would want you to just touch a little bit on just that mindset, you know, just the mindset. What is this mindset that we need to have? Because as you say, there's still challenges of the fact that we don't have big numbers of people who are thinking, I need to think about investing.
Yeah.
What do we need to do? What is this gem you need to inject right now so that people can buy their pause and say, you know what, I need to think about it? Yeah.
I think the first thing is people feel like they need to get to a certain number of wealth to start investing. It's actually very interesting. You start investing when you have 300 shillings, 100 bob.
Okay.
That's the point to start. A lot of people say, I don't have enough to start to invest. That mindset is what needs to change. The question you need to ask yourself is, what do I want in my life? What kind of life do I want to live? What are the expenses I must be able to have or to make right now? I mean, I have children I need to feed. I have a house I need to pay rent. I have medical expenses I need to pay for my parents, or different expenses I have, that if I don't have an income right now, what am I going to do? I remember listening to a gentleman, actually it was an article I was reading, his name is Ben Mandi, and he put this so well. He said, we live for about 4,680 weeks.
Yeah.
Out of those 4,680 weeks, 70% of that time is spent sleeping, eating, growing up, and going to school. You have 30% of those weeks to finance all of the 70. How do you do that?
Wow.
I mean, how can you go to work and put money in the bank account and then go and expect that that money will feed you during your years of retirement? It will never work, irrespective of how much you earn. Whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, a janitor, whatever, a teacher, you can never ever rely on your salary and expect to retire comfortably. So the first thing is to understand and accept that the money you earn now will never be enough. So what do you need to do? You need to put away some money that can work alongside you, compounding as you continue to work, so that at the time that you now need it the most, when you're retiring and have no income, there's an income coming from investments that you have made. Everybody, from a cleaner to a teacher, a doctor, whatever career you have, irrespective of how much you earn today, it doesn't matter. Wealth creation is not about how much you earn. It's about how much you keep. It's about time. And in starting today so that you don't waste time. And that when you give it time, you manage it well and you consistently invest. Compounding does magic. So people should stop thinking that I don't have enough. I only earn 500 bob a day. My last story. There's a gentleman called Sylvester Kibe.
Yes.
Some years ago, I watched his interview on K24, and you can see it's on YouTube. This guy is called Kibewa Mei. He used to, what is it
Choma.
called? Choma maize.
Yes.
Choma maize and polish shoes from 4 a.m. until rush hour is over.
Yeah.
He used to save 200 shillings a day. How much?
200.
200 bob. This gentleman would go early in the morning, he's first polishing shoes, then he changes to fanning maize. He saved 200 shillings a day for 14 years and put a deposit to buy a matatu.
Wow.
After 14 years, he bought a matatu, minibus van. He employed a driver and a conductor, and that money, he now receives an income, has been able to pay the loan for the minibus, and now that minibus gives him an income. But he continues to polish shoes and fan maize. Surely, if Kibewa Mei can have passive income, surely. You who is working at NCBA or Kenya Power or wherever it is, you should be able to have investments that can finance your future.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My goodness. That's such an inspiration. You know, you have said many things, and because we can't repeat them right now, I think if you missed anything, you can. It's going to be recorded. I mean, it's going to still be up on the stream, so you can still go back and relook and so that you can get to learn a lot of things there.
Yes.
The most touching thing for me is that you don't have to have a lot of money, 100, 200, and sad to say, there's some people who are watching me, munajua watu wa kubet nyinyi, you know, because they do a lot with more than that cash, so you can do a lot with such small money. Bansri, over to you now.
Yes, fine.
Yeah.
I'm already starting to feel the heat of this discussion. Thanks,
Exactly.
thanks, Rina. And this is exactly where we wanted it to go.
Yeah.
So, Paul, I just want to pick up from something Rina mentioned, information, the availability of information that has really propelled women investing in these capital markets. What I've experienced is, in the few years that I've invested, is you can have all the information, but it can still go either way. There's always a risk when an investment is involved. I know you mentioned you started your journey in 1998. So if I calculate backwards, you've had about 22 years investing. Paul, tell us some of the lessons you've learned, and what would you advise a young Paul that wants to start his investment journey today?
Okay. Thank you, Bansri. Actually, I didn't start in 98 because I was investing for other people before that. So I was active in the stock market almost from when I started working in 1991. So I have close to 30 years experience of investing in the stock market.
Yes.
So a couple of things that have come out, if I was 25 years today and I look back and see what are the lessons that I think the one and the clear obvious one is to start early. And I think Rina and Jeff have all touched on this. You need to invest time as well as money. And the one thing that you have in plenty when you're young is time. So you need to use that time. If you waste that time, sometimes if you start when you're 50, you will not enjoy the benefit. In fact, I can call it the magic of compounding. It really makes a very big difference. So first of all, start early. The other thing that we also need to realize, and going back to my years from the 90s to the 2000s and from 2010 to 2020, investments come in fads. So in the 90s, investing in treasury bill was the most fashionable thing. Investing in treasury bills used to give you a return of up to 93%. Did you know that? And it was the fad. It made good returns.
Yes.
Wow.
Then we came to the fad of the stock market. When we had the KenGen, the Safaricom, the Kenya Re IPOs from 2002, and everybody wanted to be invested in the stock market. And we had a really good run in the stock market. I think the next decade was the decade of Broti. Maguta. So everybody went to invest in land, property, whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the next phase will be, but I think there are lessons that come out of that.
Yeah.
One is for example, investing in land has taught us that you need to think about the liquidity of your asset.
Yeah.
Right now, when we went through the challenges of COVID, you are looking at, I'm a little short of cash, I need to look for an asset to sell.
Yeah.
Those who are investors who have tied up their money in a plot don't have that flexibility to sell and realize as quickly as possible. If you are invested in the stock market, as opposed to that, then selling is about 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
So that's perhaps one of the lessons that you learn. The other lesson that perhaps I'd like to share is that investing in the stock market is systemic. So you got cycles. You go up, you come down, you go up, you come down. And this has been repeated time and time again. There's a term that was coined by Alan Greenspan, who was once the Federal Reserve, which is called Irrational Exuberance. That means the share prices were going up in an irrational way. People were so excited about the stock market. This was around the dot-com bubble. They were so excited that they pushed prices way beyond their level. And I think there is also the equal opposite of that, which is irrational pessimism.
Yeah.
Sometimes we push prices way below their fundamental value. And I think right now with the COVID situation, we have quite a number of shares which I believe have been pushed to that level. Yes, the COVID situation will affect our economy, will affect a number of shares, but it won't affect them all in the same way. There are some that will be less affected. So I think there's an opportunity for you then to look at which are the shares right now that have been unfairly punished by the irrational pessimism
Yeah.
And is this the right time to pick up? So look for those cycles, use those cycles, one, to buy when you get that irrational pessimism.
Yeah.
And when you buy the shares, you should always be on the lookout.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So don't say that you've bought it has good fundamentals and forget about it.
Okay.
You need to follow that share. So if there's any article on a share that you are invested in, you should always be looking to read and keep up breasted on what is happening with that share. And therefore, always look to sell into strength. So strength in the market. So when you get that share price going up significantly, it's always the point where you must ask yourself, I need to start selling.
Yeah.
Don't wait until you whatever, or don't wait to get into a share when it's already gone up 200% and you're saying, whoa, you'll have getting in at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those are some. The last one, which is also related, is diversification. So I would say, don't put your eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
For an individual, I would say maybe between 5 and 6 shares, because you need to follow them. If you have 20 shares, you're not going to be able to follow them. You're not going to be able to know what's going on in the market.
Yeah.
But you're diversifying because maybe one of these might not perform as well as I expect, but the rest will perform well. The other thing is stick to fundamentals. Always think about the fundamentals of the shares. Think about what product it's producing, where the market is going. And also, brokers produce research. Please read that research, because you have a job somewhere else. This person's job from morning to evening is to research this share. How do you expect to know more than him about that share? It doesn't really make sense. So when he writes a report, please take time and read and see, because they go through a very thorough process. And they also talk to the management of that company. So let's respect research, let's look at research, and let's give it the value so that you're buying shares with strong fundamentals, which give you good opportunities for growth. Thank you.
Wow, thanks so much, Paul. I felt like I should have carried my big notebook.
Yes,
But I'll go and do that later on. We don't have a lot of time today because this was just a launch, but it's so heavy already and there's a lot of content coming in and questions as well. And I want to open that session up, and also to a lot of viewers that right now you can post whatever question that you have. And remember as well, it's never too late to share this on your Facebook, or if you're watching on YouTube or streaming, whichever platform that you're in, just click that platform so that at least a friend of yours can get to know that it is never too hard to start thinking about investing and get into the trade market. Now, Jeff, there's a question, I think this is well choreographed for you, by a lady by the name Diana Achie. And this is what she asks. Do you teach people who want to know how to trade? I would want you to answer that in about 45 seconds.
Oh, yes, we do.
Yes.
Certainly. We do teach. And we've got a platform we call the NSE Academy that you can also join through our app, and you're able to see the courses that we are now offering online. But of course, we'll have dedicated programs like this one, where every Tuesday you'll be getting a topical discussion from one of our topic experts. But if you really want to know more about the market, enroll onto our NSE education portal, and you'll be able to really see the online courses that happen, I think, every Friday. So that's currently ongoing.
Wow, that's a good one. I think Bansri has the other question as well.
Yes, yes. Thanks, Maina. So I would like to pose this question to Rina. So Rina, this question is from a lady called Duba Lydia.
Okay.
So she's asking us, is investment continuous? If I make a stock purchase, let's say today, worth 1,000 shillings, will I have to do the same the next month?
Okay. Well, you don't have to do anything, but it's with stocks. I think one of the things that is advisable to do is to buy shares continuously, especially if you have found a company that is worth investing in. It's in, just what Paul was saying. It's a company that sells a product that is good, is needed, doesn't have a close substitute. It is managed well. The price is right based on the research that has been done. You've read research and you find that this is a company I want to buy. And if you have 1,000 shillings and you buy, 1,000 shillings is nowhere near enough to forget about it and to move on. And because we're encouraging continually saving and investing, it's always good to continue to put money every so often. If it's every month you can, then great. And there's something that we call, I don't like to use this term, but it's generally called dollar cost averaging. Because what happens with a stock market, for example, you never know when it is at the lowest possible price. But when you buy slowly, as opposed to all the shares all at once, you are able to take advantage of the getting lower prices each time. And so timing the market is very difficult. So when you buy slowly over time, one, you're able to accumulate more shares, get more in your portfolio, so that when dividends are paid, you get a good sizable dividend, so you grow your portfolio, but at the same time you also get the advantage of investing slowly over time, which gives you the opportunity to buy shares lower. So for example, right now we're moving into an election season. So next year there'll be a lot of politicking, and after that we go into elections. And we tend to find during election years, the stock market tends to go down. And so this is a good time to start buying slowly over time, so that even during that time you get the opportunity to have gotten prices at a low price now during COVID season. And as we carry on even during the political season, if you can buy good stocks that are run well in an industry that is growing, then you benefit from buying slowly over time.
Great.
Okay, I have a friend, I don't want to call, he said I keep his name closed because he can see me, so he has just asked this question. Atibwana Paul is telling us to diversify from Buroti, Maguta, and many others. So Paul, I think the question he's asking is, the patience what manner of patience do I need? I think, if I may paraphrase, because I can see what he's asking, I think there's a lot of more patience needed when you come into the markets than probably in the Buroti, Maguta. What do you have to say?
Yes, thank you, Maina. Yes. And let me just emphasize that ideally stock market investments are long-term investments.
Yeah.
So you need to have a long-term view in terms of where you are investing. But you have the advantage that when you invest in the stock market, even though your intention is long-term, sometimes the realization can come over the short term, and you can still realize and sell. There's nothing that stops you from doing that. With a plot, unfortunately, and I have also been part of the investment in plots fund. I know that I was calculating my value at one point at 3 times what I bought the plot at, but I couldn't realize that three times the value. It felt nice, saying I'm now worth this much, and that much. But now when I try to sell it, I'm not able to sell it. So the kind of patience you need on the plot is the same as the one you need on the stock market. The only advantage here is that you have the advantage of liquidity. When we value shares, we actually give a premium to liquidity. So shares that are liquid actually should be valued higher than those that you cannot sell. There's a pricing to that.
Absolutely.
So liquidity is
liquidity.
Sorry, am I using jargon? Liquidity is the ability to convert it to cash without the loss of value. So there's another arm to that. You could convert it to cash very quickly, but if you convert it at a discount, then it's not liquid. Thank you.
There's a very technical question, and I think that should be directed to Jeff. Batsri, you'll ask that question. But I think from what Paul is saying, it's about, and I think my money man, the guy I introduced is called Wagema, told me that even in the NSC, it's not just about shares. There are many other things that you can diversify yourself in. And I want to thank him in absentia, he's not here, because when he pushed me to buy that Makiba, just the other day, some few weeks back, some SMSs popped in and I was happy, that was a good thing that he did. Basti, do you want to throw that big question?
I do, Maina. I know we've really run out of time.
Yes.
And before we leave, I know this question is important, but I think we can take it up after. I just wanted the panelists to give us one parting shot on investing. We've really overrun the time, Maina. And I will take this up with Jeff immediately after this, but I want him to give us one parting shot on investing. Followed by Rina and Paul Mwai.
Jeff, over to you.
I think for me, to the youth and to the Kenyans in general, is that investing in the stock market gives you the true measure of wealth. As Paul has said, you could buy all the plots and all the land, but you cannot realize it as easier. And that's why real wealth is not measured by issues around land and plots, but is measured really by the value of stocks that you have. If you look at all the rich people in the world today, they are ranked on the basis of what can be measured in real terms, and that's really the stock market or the bond market or whichever opportunity you see. So to all of you, I think it's a great opportunity. Kujeni kwa soko, tuko na bidhaa mingi, and we can really help you to convert and really begin a journey to making wealth. It starts with the first step, and it's, as all the panelists have said, it's not very expensive to start. It's one step at a time, and you really go a long way to enjoy what they call the compounding effect. Thank you very much.
Wow. Rina?
Wow, there's so many things I could say, but I think the one thing I would say is to encourage you wherever it is that you are. I think the first place to start is to think about what are your goals, what do you want to be able to achieve. Once you have that before you, then you will get the psyche to withhold from spending too much now. And it doesn't matter how much you earn. Even if you earn 10,000 or 20,000, the important thing is how much do you keep, and consistently doing so over time. And don't invest in something because your cousin, your brother, your sister, your mother, your friends are investing in it. Take time to understand what it is that you're investing in. Understand why you want to own it or why you own it, and what purpose does it serve. Because when you do that, then you're able to take investment decisions based on your circumstances and your understanding of how it then impacts your situation. Also, don't try and time the market, because timing the market is a very, very difficult thing. If you can do it slowly over time, you will succeed. So don't worry about how much it is that you earn. Take the time and just make a decision today to start and find all the information that you can. We have experts all over this town and this country who are available to assist you in your investment journey.
Excellent.
Excellent.
Yes, thank you, Maina, thank you, Bansri. First of all, let me take this opportunity to congratulate the NSE and Jelasoft for the launch of the chatbot, and just to say how we as AIB Access are proud to be associated with this new innovation. For me, I'd like to laud the technology space. Technology has made a very big difference to investment in Kenya, and I'd like to encourage the youth to embrace the technology that is out there to enable them to gain access to the stock market. Today, gaining access to the stock market is a lot easier than it was before. Wherever you are in Kenya, you can gain access, you can invest. Take this opportunity, let's get invested. You don't need a lot of money, you don't need to travel to Nairobi, you don't need all those complicated things that we had in the past. Let's get invested and let's make money. And finally, I'd like to say that you don't invest because you have wealth. You get wealth because you invest. So let's start investing.
That's the one we take a moment. It's called Seller. We think into it.
Yes.
All right. Thanks a lot, Paul, for the parting shots. But before we leave, I think it would be unfair. There's a young person here, 23 years old, who has said this, and Jeff, I think this is to you. I am 23 years old. I have been learning about the stock market and investments. That's good, by the way. He's been learning, is it? And for the last year or so, but I have found that not many people my age are into investments and stocks. How can the NSE and its partners encourage more young people to learn about investments? And I know Investment Tuesday is part of it. That's why we have launched this. But Jeff, in 30 seconds, what can you say?
I think we are very conscious about the youth, and especially the ones who are coming now into the job world.
Yeah.
It's important for them to really begin to do a difference in their lives. What I want to say is that COVID has totally given us a reset of our lives. So I know if there were before we used to spend on other activities, all of a sudden we realized we can save that money and put it elsewhere. So let's take advantage of really coming out of this COVID stronger, reset ourselves, learn a lot. As you heard from Paul and I, we started around 25. You could start a lot earlier than we did. And it's a step-by-step journey. But use the platforms, spend a reasonable amount of your time on your social media space to really learn new things, and not necessarily to follow on a bit more of the exciting things you used to do before. Investing can be a very exciting place to be in, especially if you track markets, you're able to see what's happening today, you read the news, etc. So it's all about an interest. So let's take the COVID reset opportunity as, as a beginning, as a new beginning of lifestyles, and let's make investing really a lifestyle for ourselves. That's what I'd encourage you.
Great.
Great.
Battery?
Maina,
Yes.
I know we had so many more questions,
Absolutely.
and this conversation is just starting to get interesting.
Yeah.
But because I don't want to stop on the momentum, I know we have many more Tuesdays to catch up. I'd just like to
Absolutely.
take this opportunity to thank all the panelists.
Yeah.
They've all brought in different angles and different views to this whole topic about investing.
Yeah.
But I think one of my major takeaways, and to the audience as well, is it's never too late.
Yes.
Start with as little as you have
Yeah.
and start today.
Absolutely.
Great.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Wow.
Yes?
Thanks so much,
Great.
panelists. I think it's good to alert our viewers that we're going to have a relook again on how the chatbot is operating. So, Rina, I know you'll make your way down, and I can see Mr. Wagema is right there. Wagema, are you there?
Oh yes, I'm there. I'm so and excited, and of course so much more enlightened. You know, today I was just watching the lines. You know, if you don't invest because you have wealth,
Yes.
but you invest to get wealth. So it has been an enriching session,
Yes.
and we are really totally delighted. This is not the end of it; it's just the beginning of the journey. So I'm really super excited. And
All right, over to you. Please take us through how to navigate through with the chatbot.
all right, thank you very much. So I'll quickly we will quickly recap. And Rina, that was awesome.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Wagema.
All right. So I think you did mention we'd go to Play Store,
Yes.
and then on Play Store you can actually search for Chella Chat.
Chella Chat.
Yeah, so that is CHELLA and then CHAT.
Yes, it's a purple icon.
Yes,
Written, the big word there is Chella. You will see it. Then you click on open.
there we go.
When you click on open, it will ask for a login pin. So just type in a login pin, and then you will get the option to choose from two brokers. We have AIB Capital and FIDA Investment Bank. So depending on where you have your account for now, you would click on either of those. When you click, let's start with FIDA. So when you click on FIDA, you get the option to set up your account. So before you set up, you will need your CDS account. So you will type in your CDS, and then it will give you an email. It will send you an email to your email address. So when you key in your email address, you check for your PIN that you will then generate to then be able to use the app. So click in check the email, get the PIN number, and then you'll come back. When you come back to your chatbot, you will see different options. Maybe you can read through them, Wagema.
Yes, so I can see on my screen there's your portfolio, there's order request, modify order, cancel order, order status, your funds, mini statement, and closing price. And then it also allows you to change your PIN. So I think after this, I definitely need to change my PIN. And then, of course, it has a next button, which when you click next, it allows you to either do a fund transfer to check the market status or customer support. So maybe I don't mind recapping again, checking my portfolio. I think the key issues.
Okay.
So here, when you check your portfolio, it shows you how much you have. So you're able to see how much you have, and even some of the securities that are there. So I can see I already have 100 of KPLC that I bought at 1 shilling and 80 cents. So it's very affordable. Like Jeff did mention, you can always start, especially from the shares. It allows you to start somewhere. Then I can place an order. It tells me to buy or sell. So when I choose to buy, I can choose, I can enter the first few digits. So I'll choose again KPLC, and then from there it shows me the price. So it is retailing or selling at 1 shilling and 80 cents. So I'll click on KPLC. It will give me an option on how to the lots that I can buy. So I can choose to buy 100, and when I choose 100, that is a quantity. It allows me either to place a price or choose at the market price. So this time I can choose to put a limit order. And from the limit order, it gives me the range. So between 1 shilling and 60 cents and 2 shillings. So I can choose to buy, say, at 1 shilling and 65. I really want to get it. So, and then it will give me a summary for me to confirm. Yeah. So once you've confirmed, you can actually click place order.
Just to mention, the range is because on any one trading day, you can only trade within a limit of 10%. So it can only go up 10% from the previous trading price, or come down to a limit of a 10% lower than the previous trading price, and that's why there's that range. So as you place your order, your limit order means I want to buy it at this specific price, but that specific price needs to be within the 10% range.
Very true. So you can also choose to see your mini statement that gives you a summary of how much you've been transacting. And you can also go to next, like we did last time, and choose maybe if you want to be emailed. If you have any query, you can actually get in touch. So this chatbot is really facilitative and very useful. So I can say email my statement. All right, so there's a summary. We will be forwarding the following information to Faida Investment Bank. So I can see my name and I can choose to send the message. So it is so simple.
Yeah, very simple. And if you check your email, you will see an email from the chatbot, and asking from somebody from customer service, asking how they can assist you. Wow. So, it's amazing. The amount of things that you can actually do are so many, including if you've sold shares on the chatbot, you don't need to call your broker. All you need to do is click on request funds, and you can then transfer funds from your account to your M-Pesa or to your bank account that in the way that it is set up in your account, which is fantastic.
Yeah, so make sure you download the Chela Chat. You can easily get it on the Play Store right now, and in future we'll also have it on the App Store. So it is an exciting journey. So join us every Tuesday for Investing Tuesdays. Investing goes digital.
Yeah, I think that's the best launch of the day. The fact that is it every other Tuesday? Or
every alternating Tuesday.
Every alternating Tuesday. So next Tuesday we won't have one, but the Tuesday after that, there will be information. So especially for the 23-year-old who was asking, what are you doing about the young people? Every other Tuesday, you will be able to look at information and learn on what investment opportunities are available to you and how you can access them.
So make a date at 11 to noon, and then we shall be able to engage with you. So we are really super excited. It's a great thing to also start your investing journey. I like something that was said by the panel. COVID has helped us to reset. So are you going to reset your investment life? So this is a perfect opportunity. You can easily access the stock market. Looking forward to more interactions.
Thank you so much, Wagema. Back to you, Maina.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And of course, I hope all of you who are checking this out, don't just check it out, try it out, download, check it out, see whether you have any other questions, send them to us and we'll be able to answer that. Right about now, I want to introduce Maureen. Maureen has been at the back of making sure this is a success. And so Maureen is going to probably thank us up and probably appreciate the people who have made this happen. Maureen, over to you.
Thank you, Maina. Good afternoon to you all. In the words of Saint Ambrose, no duty is more urgent than returning thanks. And therefore, I would like to take this opportunity to thank our chief guest, our director, Isis Nyong'o Madison, for honoring our invitation and sharing the keynote speech, the acting chief executive officer of Capital Markets Authority for their continued support and partnership throughout this initiative, our panelists, Mr. Geoffrey Odundo, Mr. Paul Mwai, and Madam Rina Hicks for taking their time to share their key insights of investing. And we'd also like to share our gratitude to our board, to those in diaspora, and the investors at large who are joining us virtually. And lastly, we cannot forget the crew behind the scenes who have made this event possible and a success, as well as our moderators, Madam Bansri Patni and Mr. Maina Chege, for their fantastic job. Thank you all, God bless you, and have a great afternoon.
All right, thanks a lot, Madam Maureen. I know we are clapping here, so I think we should just do it practically. Yeah, behind the scenes, somebody has been spending sleepless nights to ensure this is happening. And of course, not to forget the money man, Mr. Wagema, from wherever you are, receive our thanks. That's it for today, just for today, because I'm saying that for today because there's a lot of things that are about to happen. But I'm sure we have more to happen on the Tuesdays that are coming up, is it?
Absolutely.
Absolutely,
Maina. And we will be sharing the subject of the conversation with time. Yes.
So if you're not following us on the social media platforms, make sure you do. Tell your friend, tell your mother, tell your daddy, tell everybody else who needs to invest to avoid doing the buroti maguta only, because there's a lot of things that you can do by yourself. So it's an end for now. Oh my goodness, Paul made me remember that thing. So it's an end for now. It's for now. I like using the word for now because this is a continuous conversation that is ongoing.
Yes.
And just to encourage you, send the questions, do whatever you may want, start investing, and as Bansri said, start today. Is it?
Absolutely.
Maybe we should even ongeza a word like start now, you know? Yeah, so do that now. Bye-bye for now. See you next Tuesday.
Yes.